This is an informal tour of the Mugo Library reservation system. This is a standalone that allows libraries to manage different types of equipment. So this is the front end we're looking at of our demo site. As you can see here, you have a specific landing page. You can have as many landing pages as you want. You control all the content that appears before the primary views. You can add images, you can add links, you can add video, you can add whatever you need to up here and make this as expansive as needed. But when the patron comes into it, they have three primary ways for viewing items. So the first is they can go to a printable list of all of the items. These will be listed alphabetically. They can go in and read more about specific items. And then if there's something they see they want, they can click directly on that link to show the calendar for that specific resource. In that calendar, they can go in and as long as it's available, it will show with a blue reservation. They can click on that to request it, and then it will show here they can give their information. These forms are customizable by the library. So you can choose what specific fields you need and what information you need to get from the patron. You can also choose what location items are sent to. So this supports larger library systems with multiple branches as well. The other view here is a drop-down list. So if they're already familiar with the collection, you can drop down, scroll to a specific title, or you can search in the drop down to go directly to specific items as well. Lastly, we have the search by available date and availability. So if it has a specific requirement of a club says, I know we have a meeting on January 12th, what items are available, they can click on a specific date and it will show all of the different items that are currently available for that specific item. On the back end, you can see here where you have multiple landing pages. You can have as many landing pages as you need. So if you have different types of collections, all of them can be managed easily here in the back end. You also have the ability to customize some of this. So you can upload your library logo so it appears at the top of all of your pages and includes your library branding there. You can add those new landing pages, and then you can also manage your branches. So these are the locations. This is simply done by clicking Add Branch, titling it, and that's it. That automatically includes it in all the drop downs and availability for the different items as well. You can remove these as needed. You can also customize your forms. Now, you can do this on the individual items themselves. So if you have a field form that is specific to a type of item, you can do that directly in the item itself, but you can also save yourself time if you're using the same kind of fields for the same category. So you can add as many of these base forms as you want. You would title them, and then you can configure each of the individual field types here as needed. Once you have this saved, this is available to copy to all of the different items. So let's look at one of our landing page examples. As you can see, you can title this. This becomes part of the URL for that specific landing page. You have control over the lending policies for the items under this landing page. So here you can see you can set the booking days, how long something checks out for. You can set the lead days. This is how much advance notice your team needs in order to get the kit ready from today to the day that a patron would pick this up. And then you have days between bookings. This is great if you do have multiple branches, so that if a item is returned to one branch on a specific day, you know you need so much time to process it and get it ready and allow it to travel to the next location for it to be picked up by that new patron, that new booking. So this gives you a buffer time between the reservations themselves. This description area is set so that you can edit all of that information on your landing pages. This is a rich text editor, so you have full formatting options here, your alignments, you can create lists. As I said, you can add images. You can also even embed accordions or videos, whatever you need, whatever content is helpful to the patrons, you can add here. Below that, you have recipient. This is the person who would get a notification on staff every time that someone requests one of these items. This is optional. You don't have to put in a recipient here, but if it's helpful for your staff to know, okay, there's a reservation someone's requested, I need to go in and look at that, that allows for it. Below here, we have one of our new improvements. This is the staff reminder email. So that notification that someone has requested an item might come in 3 months before the item needs to go out. So if you want to remind your staff a couple of days to get it ready to send it out before the start of the lending period, you can customize that time and set it here. And you can even designate a different recipient to receive that email. So you can have one person who's managing the reservations and approving them if you have the approval process set up, or you can have a different person who, once it's been approved, is the person actually pulling this, getting it ready, putting in slips, sending it out to the patron themselves. We also have a field for instructions. Now, the system sends out a lot of automatic emails. These can be customized as well for which ones you want it to send out, which ones you don't want it to send out. But the ones it sends out is as soon as someone puts in a reservation, it's going to, if it is automatically approved, send the confirmation that says, great, you've reserved this. We're putting this on hold for you on this date. Here's a link if you need to cancel. It sends out reminders to the patron as well, saying, don't forget, this is ready for you to pick up. It sends out reminders saying that before it is due, so a couple of days before the end of the lending period, it would send a reminder saying, don't forget to return this. All of that has a fairly static message on the emails, and you can customize it with your library's personal contact information, but occasionally for different types of materials, you might have specific information that needs to go out, and you can customize what is included on those automatic emails by adding it here. Lastly, here at the bottom, we've got options for terms of use. So you will see on the different items, when you fill this form out, this is something that is automatically applied at the bottom, the policy agreement there, if either of these two things are filled out. If they're left blank, this is left off of the form. But if there's something in there, then the patron has to say, yes, I have acknowledged that I see the policy on this. Now, this link here could either be a link to an external policy page that you have on your libraries and website already, or it could be a standalone page that lists that within the Mugo library system itself. If it is that standalone page, you configure that page by putting your terms in here. This is the same rich text editor that you saw up here for the description, which means you have the same options. You can add files to this. You can format it the way you want. You can add a table. You can add links. You can add images, accordions, all of that here. And then the very last thing is, how do you want to handle the approval process for the items under this landing page. So this could change based on the type of items you have, but it applies to everything that is listed under a specific landing page. You can either have a approval workflow, which means that when a patron submits a request, a notification goes to the patron saying, thank you, we're reviewing your request, and a notice goes to your recipient up here at the library, who then can go into the back of the system, look at the request, approve it, reject it, modify it as needed. Or you can skip that approval workflow and just, if something is available, as long as there's no conflicting dates in the calendar in the back end, it's automatically approved for that patron and they just get the confirmation right away. Once you have your landing page set up, then you can add items. There's no limit to the number of items you can add in here. We're on the admin view of this, which gives me that ability to go in and add items and to also edit them after they've been added or to hide them. Hide means it just doesn't show up on the front end. So if you have a resource, maybe it came back and it was damaged, maybe you need to replace some pieces or a couple of copies to it, you can remove it from the front end so it's no longer able to be requested until it's ready, or you can keep it hidden if it is just a internal item. It's only for staff use, but it's very easy to hide and reveal those. At the very end, we'll look at what the desk staff permission looks like where you don't have those options as well. We're going to edit one of these so you can see what it's like to add items into the system. This is an example of a game. So we have the title up here. We also have the sorting title option. This is a new feature that allows you to go in and add a alternative title for the alphabetical listing. So if there was an article in this and the display title was the Gloomhaven, that's not the title of the game, but you can see where that would be. The sorting title could still be Gloomhaven, so it shows up under G instead of the, but keeps the full title in there. You can also add an image of any type, alternative image text there for accessibility purposes. If this were a book club kit, you could add in the author, you could choose a genre. You don't have to choose either of those. This is not tied into your ILS in this standalone instance, but you could add in a barcode number here for staff to make it a little bit easier managing this in the back end as well. The contents allow you to easily list what is included on those items. You can see this also when you list all items, contents here displayed. Someone can see at a glance exactly what is in that, which is very useful. And then your description, same rich text editor, you can add in as much information here as you like. Now below here, we have the form fields for this particular item. Now, we already had these set up. We made a base form already. So I could come in here and just copy those from there and not have to worry about setting these up at all. But maybe I need to have a special form field for just this item. I can go in here and set that specifically in the back end, and it only applies to this item. Now, the system automatically collects the patron name, the patron email, and of course, those dates and times of when the reservation is supposed to go into effect. And it also includes the location if you have branches set up. Those are automatically on there. You don't have to worry about creating those fields. The system is going to do that. Now, once you have all of your items set up, there are several ways to view these reservations. So you can either go to the view all pickup dates, which will show you a calendar that will list everything by all different types and where it's going to go and who it's for. And clicking on these individual items will take you into that reservation so you can see more of the details as needed. You can also view these individually as calendars. So if you just needed to see when these particular items were checked out or reserved, you can go in and see that single view calendar there. The other thing that the view all pickup dates does is it does show everything in the system that's going out, regardless of landing page type. So we have this feature up here where you can sort by the different landing pages you have set up. So if you just need to see what book club kits are going out, you can see that. If you have different staff who are managing this, maybe someone else is in charge of the board games, they just need to see that list. You also have the ability to sort by location. So again, your desk staff at the branches could say, we just need to see what's coming in and coming out and who's picking up. They could look by their specific branch and see that. And then this would also be available to be printed, so they could keep that at their desk and view as needed. We also have the ability built in to search across all reservations. So, for instance, if a patron calls and says, I don't remember what book club kit I requested, can you tell me what that is? You can go in and search for them specifically, and it will bring everything up by category. So you can see the different types of kits. You can see whether something is still pending or upcoming, or if it is in the past. This view is also what you can see when you are looking at the individual calendars. So again, if this is something that you have the approval workflow set up for, you can go into each individual item, and if you have the approval workflow set, you can go in and view these. You can either do a quick view to compare them side by side, or go into the full details and edit this, approve it, reject it as needed. When you select either of those options, it's going to say if you want to send an automatic email. If you don't, you can send a personal email as well. This sends out the pre-formed message from the system. You can also see the past reservations here. So this is useful for your statistics. If you need to record at the end of the year how many times this kit checked out, you can export this to CSV and pull that over into Excel and sort it and compile it with the others as needed. You also, even after something has been approved, have the option to move it to a different kit or a different time as needed, or you can even reject or cancel something after the fact. So if a patron calls and says, I lost my email with the cancellation, I no longer need this kit, then you could go in and reject this for them and either send the email or not. I mentioned that there are different levels of access for this. This can also be customized, but the two standard ones are the admin, which allow you all the control of things you saw before, and then the desk staff. Now, this is the desk staff view here. You can see there are very few options, but desk staff can go into the back. They can search all reservations. They can go in and view all pickup dates and still have those sorting options as needed. They can see the patron information as well. And in this case, they can edit it again if a patron calls and says, I need to change this, I gave the wrong information. That ability exists here. They can also view the individual calendars for specific items, and they can place their own reservations in the back end. So they can do this on behalf of the patrons, or they can do this for staff use as well. They can go in and add a request. The staff requests that are created in the back end override the approval process. So even if you have the approval process set up for an item, if a staff member is doing it in the back end, it's automatically approved and then would appear as reserved on the front end, and in the back end you would see the information from that reservation. Other than that, desk staff do not have the ability to go in and change any of the settings or hide or remove any of the items. That's left to the administrator. The administrator also has control over the user accounts and can create new users as needed for their library. That is the quick tour of Mugo Library's reservation system. This is a standalone service. If this is something that you have questions about, if you would like to try a demo of this, or if you are interested in adding this to your library's resources, please reach out and let us know. We would be happy to talk to you further.